How good dominates evil. Since the beginning of time, when God placed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, man has been in constant battle against evil. Evil plagued the world when Eve, followed by Adam, decided to break God's one prohibition in their massive playpen that was the sinless world: do not eat from the forbidden tree. As a result, man has been under evil's relentless grasp for thousands of years, and literature shows the many ways evil influences man to do its work. The authors of these plays, epics, poems, and journals expand this topic into often very relatable ways, while also providing readers a wonderful story to sink their minds into. It is exciting to see a character like Edmund from the Chronicles of Narnia defeat the evil of temptation when it is in its prime, or when Bilbo Baggins from Tolkien's The Hobbit overcomes an oppressive evil that haunts the land with an insatiable lust for domination. One thing that remains constant through all British literature is that evil may do its best to overcome good, but in the end, good always wins. One must first decipher what truly defines evil from good. Evil, as seen from a social point of view, is a force that contains a debatable definition. One might think that evil pertains only to the things government justifies as illegal, such as murder, rape, robbery, fraud, or any other deed that the law claims to be unacceptable. But the extent of evil reaches beyond what established governments label as immoral. Evil originates in the heart before it is put into action. Like all great villains, evil does not appear without some reason heavy enough to control a person's thoughts and feelings. And even while the evil desire originates in their heart, they do not think that what they believe is justified is actually evil. In their eyes, their actions are justified by the intent that it will grant them an overall benefit for themselves. However, regardless of their intent, if the result or outcome of their action produces evil, then the action is evil. C.S. Lewis, a world-famous philosopher and epic illustrator, touches on an evil that has dominated society for generations through his story, Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. In this story, the audience is introduced to the lives of 4 children: Peter, Edmund, Lucy, and Susan. Peter is the oldest of the 4 children, and he is shown to be the leader of the bunch. Susan is the second oldest and portrayed as the most cautious of the 4, who always ensures the safety of her family above all else. Lucy is the youngest and most curious sibling, and she is the child of the 4 who provides the most focus throughout the plot. Edmund, however, is the character that many seem to skim over, as his transformation by the end of the story is a lesson of overcoming evil when it is near impossible to resist. In a land of mystical beings, captivating rivalries, and picturesque scenery, Edmund has fallen to the hands of the embodiment of evil itself, the White Witch. The White Witch is a cunning, divisive, and does not grant mercy to those who are easily tempted, such as poor Edmund. She promises him power and authority within the kingdom of Narnia, along with the title of prince. Foolishly, Edmund accepts her offer, and because of his new identity with the witch, he develops a wicked character against his family. Lewis assures the audience that he, Edmund, himself is not actually evil. However, you mustn't think that even now Edmund was quite so bad that he actually wanted his brother and sisters to be turned into stone. He did want Turkish delight and to be the prince, and later a king, to pay Peter out for calling him a beast, and for what the witch would do with the others. He didn't want her to be particularly nice to them, but he managed to believe, or to pretend he believed, that he wouldn't do anything very bad to them. Edmund's spirit of wickedness developed only because he allowed himself to fall into the trap of temptation, an evil that is very hard to recover from. Although he had fallen victim to the White Witch's power of deceptiveness, he was not incurable. While he was extremely prideful, he eventually saw the truth of the lie. He watched as the witch killed innocent creatures who were celebrating Christmas, and at this point his prideful spirit began to break. As the narrator acknowledges that this moment is Edmund's first time in the whole story that he felt sorry for someone other than himself. Once he realizes that change was necessary, he sought out Aslan, and his spirit of pride was broken forever. As mentioned before, evil is a force that is often led by the intent to provide for benefit of oneself. Although if the actions taken to achieve that benefit prove to be evil, the benefit becomes less of a gain and more of an act of evil. In Shakespeare's drama Hamlet, this exact principle takes place. From the beginning of the play, the audience is introduced to a man who is conflicted with grief over his father's death. Prince Hamlet believes that his father's death was in vain, but he has no outside evidence to support his claim. Even worse, his mother and Queen of Elsinore Gertrude is already remarried to his deceased father's brother, Claudius. Since she remarried so soon after his father's death and to his own uncle, he only dislikes Claudius because he suspects Claudius has had a hand in his father's death, but it seems like incest. Hamlet is then visited by an apparition of his father who informs Hamlet that his suspicion of Claudius is correct. It is at this point that Hamlet begins to lose his sanity and exact revenge on his father, no matter the cost. At first, he is skeptical that the ghost is trustworthy. To prove the ghost's legitimacy, before doing anything insane, Hamlet puts on a revised play of the murder of Gonzago, so that it displays the exact kind of murder that the ghost described to Hamlet. As he had hoped, Claudius is conscience-stricken and he leaves the room, proving to Hamlet that he is the villain. Through various trials and setbacks, Hamlet ends up murdering